Welcome to the Airbnb Roadmap, the podcast designed to navigate you through the entire journey of short-term rental success. Whether you're just starting out or ready to take your hosting game to the next level. My husband and I became super hosts within just months of launching our first Airbnb and have proudly kept that title ever since. With over 350 reviews and an overall 4.95 star ratings, we picked up a hack or two I'm excited to share with you. In each episode, I break down the strategies, insights, and industry secrets that set profitable short-term rentals apart. From choosing the right property, understanding local regulations, and obtaining your listing to go beyond just the basics. I'm here to share everything you need to succeed. So if you're ready to map out your path to Airbnb success and unlock the full potential of short-term rentals, join me on the Airbnb Roadmap. Your journey starts here. Hey, I'm Brittany Wenninger from Porch Realty, powered by Real Broker LLC. I always laugh whenever I say the LLC because I feel like I'm like a radio person, so I'm like, LLC. Anywho, we have officially launched our newest Airbnb and our portfolio is growing, which is super exciting. And honestly, we launched it a couple weeks ago, but it is one of those things that like, dang, I really thought that we didn't really have that much to do in the property until we got in there, and Clay's like, we need to do this, we need to do that, this place needs to be spectacular, and so on and so forth. I'm like, dang, man, like, didn't really think about this stuff. Like, for example, we wanted to move the fire pit, so that had to be done. And there was a shed in the backyard, so we got rid of the shed and so on and so forth. And honestly, like, the landscaping was the biggest thing. We actually got done with the interior pretty fast. The exterior, not so much. And that's mainly because, like, the weather, but also, like, when someone is older living in a house, they do not care whatsoever about the landscaping, and it shows. So, like, my mother-in-law went there and she raked all of, like, the debris and all that stuff, and I was like, I didn't even know that there was that much there. So that was impressive. Also, when she was doing everything, I was pregnant, and I just felt so bad because I was staying at home because I didn't want to be that far from the hospital. And we have exterior cameras, and one of them does face the backyard. And I was just watching them work because I had so much FOMO because I love doing like renovations and yard work, especially with my husband, which is weird because I know not a lot of people can say that. But I like working with my husband. And we just work so well together. And like, if we're both stressed or we both are just like having a day, we just look at each other and just immediately like start laughing. So I was having FOMO because I was like, oh, I'm not there. Like, I just feel like I'm useless right now, even though I was growing a human. But yeah, so that is the life update, is that the Airbnb is launched, and I'm very excited to see how it performs in the summertime because I think it's going to kill it. But this episode is all about the small and mighty team. And we did talk about this in a previous episode of who needs to be on your team. But we just went through the whole interview process. And I would love to share with you how that looks like, especially with the cleaner. So finding a cleaner is not difficult depending on the location. If you are more in like a urban setting, suburban setting, there's going to be cleaners out there. And finding them is not the biggest challenge. Now, when you are in a rural area, literally out in the country, they are a little bit more difficult to come across just because not a lot of people live in the country and not a lot of cleaners really love to drive that far. Now, is it doable? Absolutely. Is it a little bit more challenging? Absolutely. Is it still worth having an Airbnb? Absolutely. For this property, it is more in the city, and finding the cleaner was pretty easy. All I just did was I literally just went on Facebook, went to the township's Facebook page. So like most towns have like their own Facebook page that people sell stuff or like complain. Honestly, most of the comments are complaining. But I just did a post saying, hey, I'm looking for a cleaner for a short-term rental / Airbnb. If you know anyone, please reach out. If you're a cleaner, please reach out. And when I do these posts, I always say short-term rental / Airbnb. You can also just put Airbnb in the post as well, but not a lot of people know what a short-term rental is. And if they do, then awesome, like they're your cleaner. But if they don't, then it is what it is. I also look on Google too. So I will say vacation home cleaner or Airbnb cleaner near me. And Google will then search for their keywords on the cleaner's websites and see if it's going to be a matchmaker or not. Now, for this case, I did go on the city Facebook group or page and I did my post and I got all of these people commenting. And I was like, wow, like there's so many. That's awesome. Well, at that point, my next step was to actually look up these people. So yes, I did the good old Facebook creeping. I creeped hard. And some of them had a business page, which was awesome to see because then it kind of showed that like they are professionals. Some of them did not. They just had like their normal Facebook like personal page, which is totally fine. And if that was the case, best believe I creeped even harder. And I just kind of went down the list. I found about 10 people that I was like, all right, like this could be a potential. From there, I Facebook messaged them and I asked them interview questions. The reason why I Facebook messaged them first before actually having a phone call with them is because I was trying to weed out the people that were serious versus not serious. Because a lot of people on that post would comment other people and then that other person might not have even like wanted more business. I still reached out to that person that they commented on, but some of them didn't reach out to me. So then I kind of knew like, okay, like they aren't that serious. So again, for every single person that I found, I messaged them on Facebook. And truthfully, some people did message me first, which was actually really nice to see because then it kind of showed that they're proactive. But I asked everyone the exact same 6 questions. And the questions are as such. The very first one is, do you do off-site laundry? I asked this question because, first, I really like all of our laundry to be done off-site, so it kind of is less wear and tear on our washer and dryer. Also, I have found that when cleaners do use your washer and dryer, they will put the dirties in the washer, everything's all good, and then they will transfer it to the dryer, but then they actually leave the sheets in the dryer. Am I a fan of this? Absolutely not. Because one, when a guest actually uses the washer and dryer, they would feel bad to just like take the dry sheets and put it into a hamper. Like a lot of people feel morally weird about that and they feel like that they need to fold the sheets, which I totally get because I would be the same way. Now, also, when the sheets are left in the dryer, they get very wrinkly. And then if that cleaner is now taking those sheets and putting it on the bed for the next clean, now your sheets are just really wrinkly and it does not have a very professional look to it whatsoever. So I think that this causes a lot more issues than not, to be honest. So that's why I always say, like, do you do off-site laundry? Like, do you take the dirty sheets to your house and you clean them there? My next question is, do you have fixed rates? And these questions are very like short and sweet because I don't want to already like overwhelm them. So the next question is, do you have a fixed rate? This is very important because I have noticed there are some cleaners, and I feel like that there's getting more and more of them that are giving you a like variable rate. So it's not fixed. And the reason why they do this is because they're like, okay, if one clean uses all the beds, it's going to be a lot more time to switch all of the beds over, which is true. But then the next clean could just be one bed and then it's a lot shorter. So then they kind of just vary in their prices. The reason why I don't do this is because, one, I feel like I don't like a surprise when it comes to my invoice. I don't want, one invoice to be $2,000 and then the next one be $1,700 and then the other one be $1,800 and so on and so forth. I like it to be a fixed price because at the end of the day, everything already equals out. So if one clean is a lot more difficult than the other clean, then it's going to be a balance. Because if they charge, let's say, and this is just a random price, $175 per clean, and it's a fixed rate. They have to clean all 5 beds. They charge $175. But the next guest only stays one night and they use one bed and they still charge $175. I will guarantee you that that one night in the one bed probably took about like an hour to clean the whole place up again and then switch over the bed. But the other clean that was all 5 beds and they probably stayed like 4 nights, that probably took that cleaner about 3 hours to clean. Now, the typical amount of time that should take her or him to clean the property is 2. So overall, it kind of balances out. That's why I think fixed rate is a lot more doable than a variable rate because then you're not getting surprised. Now, there are cleaners out there that will charge extra if it's like super dirty, like they have a party. I get it. Like if they did not clean any of the pots and pans or dishes and there's trash everywhere, I totally understand charging extra for that. But charging extra because more beds were used, I don't believe in that. So that's why I always ask this question. I'd rather be just upfront. Third question is, do you have insurance? This is also very important to know if your cleaner has insurance, just because if they do slip in your property, are they insured? If they break a very expensive vase while they clean, are they insured? And so on and so forth. So I always make sure that our cleaners are insured. Next question would be, do you have a team? This question is always a hit or miss if it's a make or break situation because not every cleaner has a team. They do operate like, this is their small business and so on and so forth. So not everyone will have a team at all. But the reason why I always ask this up front is because I want to know that if the cleaner is sick or if he or she is on vacation or if there was an emergency that happened, who will be the backup? You always want to make sure that there's a backup to your cleaner. And sometimes it's an employee, sometimes it's their daughter or sister or mother, father, son, whatever it may be, family member. Sometimes it's them. Now, there are pros and cons to a family member being a backup versus a employee. I think if it's a family member, I personally kind of like it a little bit more just because that family member does not want to let down the other family member. Like they don't want to be that disappointment, to be honest. Employee, on the other hand, they're getting paid. They don't really care. They might not even know the house whatsoever. So, both of them are good backups, 100%. Like, I'm not complaining. But I think, like, having a family member is a little bit better than an employee. But overall, a backup is a backup. So I'm just happy that someone cleans the property, to be honest. And then if they do have a large team, will it be the same person every single time in your Airbnb? Or will it be changing a lot? Because you want to make sure that the cleaning is consistent, especially if the one before was really good. You want to make sure that that consistency is still there. The next question is, the next question would be, would a 11 a.m. checkout and a 3 p.m. check-in be a problem? I ask this up front because I do not want to change my check-in and checkout time at all. There's a lot of cleaners that say, oh, I prefer it to be a 10 a.m. checkout and 4 o'clock check-in. I personally think that 10 a.m. is too soon and 4 p.m. is too late. And, that is a 6-hour time frame. I get that they have other clients that they need to service as well, but the 6 hours, and I think that's just too much time. So I am very strict on my 11 to 3. I will not change it. And if the cleaner cannot accommodate to that, then they are not my cleaner. So just again, being upfront and being like, hey, will you accommodate to this? If you can, cool. If not, then sorry, I have to move on. I did have one of the cleaners say, you know what, we do 10 to 4. And I'm like, sorry, moving on. She's like, okay, like I'll switch it. Like for you, we'll do 11 to 3. And I'm like, okay, cool. Got that one resolved. And then last but not least for the text message questions is, do you charge extra for the holiday cleans / weekend cleans? If they charge us extra for holiday cleans, I'm not really too upset because I get it. Like cleaning on Christmas, no one really likes to do that. So if they charge us extra, I'm like, okay, it is what it is. But charging extra on the weekend, like that's the nature of the job. I will not pay extra over the weekend for a clean. It's the way of Airbnb. It's the way of short-term rentals. So if someone's like, yep, I charge extra for the weekend, sorry, moving on. Alrighty, quick pause real fast, because if you've been listening to this podcast and thinking, okay, Britt, I'm in. I want to launch my own Airbnb, but I need someone to walk me through it, then I've got you covered. I created a course called the Airbnb Roadmap Accelerator. It's literally everything I wish I had when I first started. This course is designed to take you step by step through the entire journey of launching a profitable short-term rental, from finding the right market, analyzing properties, setting it up, automating your systems, managing guests, and finally scaling smart. But here's the best part. It's actually affordable. Why? Because I'm a big believer that education shouldn't be price gouged. You shouldn't have to spend $5,000 to get the information you need to succeed, because you need that $5,000 to launch your Airbnb. This course teaches you the same strategies, the same tools, and the same systems as those high-ticket programs, just without the fluff and the huge price tag. And because you're a part of the Airbnb Roadmap community, you get a little extra something. Use the promo code in the show notes and you'll get $50 off the course just for being a listener. Whether you're just getting started or you got a property and need help pulling it together, the Airbnb Roadmap Accelerator course will get you moving with clarity and confidence. All right, back to the episode. Now, once I answered all these questions and I feel good about it, then I'll say, hey, are you open for a phone call in like the next couple days, and kind of like really get to know their personality. Now, some of the questions that I'll ask during the phone call are pretty much the basic ones is, how long have you been doing this for? I also ask the team question again of like, if you are sick, how do we overcome this? Or like, what's your process? Just because I'm that person. Like, I just need to know that there's someone else that can like help out. I also ask if like how they would like to do the payment part of it. Like, do they use QuickBooks? Do they send invoices? Like, what is their process? So then I know that they actually have a process instead of just like winging it. And then if they service other short-term rentals. So after the phone call, if I still feel good about it, then they go to the property and do a property tour. For this newest listing that we just launched, I interviewed 12 people on the text, and then I called actually only 2 people because I was actually going to the property like literally the next day. And the people that I already felt really good about, I was just like, hey, what time are you available tomorrow or the day after that? And I'll have you come to the property. Now, I typically would do a phone call for every single person, but my husband was at the property and I felt better that he was there and I was doing the interview process like while he was obviously in the cabin, because usually he's not there and I just do this myself. So because he was there, I was like, you know what, let's just get a lot of cleaners in here, obviously not at the same time. Let's just interview them. So overall, we had 5 people come to the Airbnb, take a tour, and kind of like give us some quotes. That day was absolutely exhausting. I didn't realize how much, well, I know I'm a big talker, but when people are being interviewed, they like to talk as well. And doing 5 in that one day, I was like so mentally drained and I couldn't really get any projects done. So I would probably break that up into like a couple days, to be honest. Or if you just want to like just hone down and just get it done, you can do it in one day. But when they showed up, I just pretty much gave them a property tour and I acted like that I already hired them. That kind of put their guard down, which is really nice because I want to see like who they actually are instead of like their interview self. So I acted like they were already hired. And some of the girls that they were all females that I interviewed. But one of them, she was in business for a long time and like she really liked to tell me like, oh, I've been doing this for like 20, 25 years. And I really respect people that like give other people advice, but there's also a point that like you don't want to give too much advice that's kind of like, okay, girl, like this is my property, this is why we're doing it, like there's a reason why I did it this way and not your way. So there was that kind of going on. And she's like, I've been doing this for 25 years. And I'm like, cool, things have changed. But that's just at the time that was totally pregnancy Brit of being kind of like, this is how we're doing this. Which is funny because yeah, that's not usually like me. Anyways, in this property, we do also have 2 bunk beds, 2 queen size bunk beds. And she was like, ooh, making these beds it's going to be very difficult. I'm like, is it going to be doable? And she's like, oh, I don't know. Like, it's doable, but it's hard. It's very hard. I'm like, okay, well, if you can't do this, then like, just tell me. I don't want you to like complain down the road that we have bunk beds, so just be upfront. She's like, oh yeah, I could do bunk beds, like that's fine. I just need a step stool, I need this, I need that. I was like, okay, girl, relax. Anyway, so that was one cleaner. Now, the other cleaner, she was also kind of funny because the interview process, I think she totally bamboozled me. Let's just say that. She bamboozled me the whole time. So she comes to the house and she super nice. Like everyone was very nice, don't get me wrong. But she comes in and I just for some reason I asked the same question again, like I asked in the interview, like in the text messages and whatnot and the phone call. And I asked, how many short-term rentals do you service? And she's like, oh, what's a short-term rental? And I was like, Airbnb. And she's like, oh yeah, none. And I was like, okay. On the phone and in the text messages, like, you did not say none. Like, I don't know if it's one of those things that she just totally bypassed the question and I didn't realize, but she's never cleaned a Airbnb before. Now, is that a huge deal? No, because my other cleaner, I actually taught her how to do the same and she is a rock star now. But for this girl, she did mention that she cleans apartments. So when there's like a turn in the apartment, she'll go in and clean the whole apartment. Now, the biggest turnoff was that she said, oh yeah, they only give me 24 hours to do this. And I paused and I was like, oh, only 24 hours, huh? And she's like, yeah, I need like at least 48 to 72 because I'm busy. And I'm like, oh. And I was like, well, for this, you have 4 hours. And sometimes you won't know until the night before that you have to clean the next day. And she's like, oh yeah, no, that's no problem. And in my head, I was like, this is not going to work out. I already feel it, whatever. I still gave her the whole tour. I didn't go into detail though. And I didn't kind of tell her like, hey, like this door to the garage is probably going to be open the whole time. Like I didn't tell her any of that stuff. So did that one work out? Absolutely not. But just use your spidey senses. And then the 5th girl actually never showed up. And that one was kind of shocking because she had a whole team. She had great reviews. and she never showed up. She texted me, I think it was like 2 or 3 days after, and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, I just never put in my calendar. I totally blanked. And then at that time, I was like, hey, like, it's all good. We did pick someone, but I will keep you in mind if that person does not work out. And that's what I said to everyone that I did not pick. I just said, hey, we picked a cleaner. If she does not work out, I will absolutely contact you. And then that way, like, we didn't burn any bridges, because again, if this cleaner that I did pick does not work out, then at least I have some backup options. But the cleaner that we did pick, some of the things I really liked that she said was, one, the bunk beds. She's like, oh, nice. Like, bunk beds, whatever. Like, she did not make a fit over these bunk beds, which I was like, huh, thank God. And I even asked her, I was like, will this be a problem? She's like, no, not at all. I was like, cool. She also services other short-term rentals. I was a little bit nervous with that, because I was like, why would you prioritize ours over theirs? And the person that she cleans for, he has 5 small ones, like very small ones. And she's like, they're small. They don't have like a crazy amount of turnovers. Managing both won't be an issue. I was like, all right, cool. Her team is her family members. So if there is a double booking or triple or whatnot, then she has her daughter come help her, or her mom, which I think is really nice. And you could tell that she just had a lot of hustle and a lot of drive to her. And she really had pride in her business, which you don't really see a lot of. And when I saw that and saw the joy that she had when she was talking about her cleaning business, that's how I knew that, like, that was my person. Because when you have so much pride in your company, you don't want to like jeopardize that whatsoever. You don't want to mess up. So when I saw that, I was like, yep, you are my person. So we did hire her. Very excited for her to start. And overall, she came to the house and she jazzed up her cleaning closet. I never do this for the cleaners because they have their own systems and I don't want to mess with that. So she jazzed up her cleaning closet with like the linens and all that good jazz and what she wanted in her closet. And now she's rocking and rolling. She did do a deep clean for us, so that was really nice. And we did get that before the photos. So deep clean, photos, and then moseyed on to the very first booking. So that is the interview process for our cleaner. And in another episode down the road, I will talk about the interview process for a handyman. Honestly, it's not as complex of a process than the cleaner, but it's also part of your small and mighty team. So we'll get into that in another episode. But for this one, all about the good old cleaner, which is pretty much the backbone of your Airbnb. So till then, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out. Ask me them. I'm here to help you succeed. So till then, I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me on the Airbnb Roadmap. If you're loving these episodes and want to keep the conversation going, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with someone who's ready to dive into the world of short-term rentals. Got a question or topic you would love to hear about? Reach out. This podcast is all about learning and growing together. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the Airbnb Roadmap Podcast, for more tips, tricks, and behind-the-scene insights. Until next time, here's to turning your short-term rental dreams into thriving realities. I'll see you back here soon.